Hello and welcome to StroongeCast episode 58.
The Art of Compromise.
Yes, and the art of compromise today is that I probably have to do more talking than usual because you've got a cold.
Yeah, I do. I've broken the 8 or 9 year streak of not having a cold, apparently. This one has taken me down. Well, the only thing I've had is COVID, so I'm pretty sure this isn't COVID.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't seem like COVID. It was pretty obvious last time when I had COVID. So I think this is just the cold that my mum has brought back from Tunisia and given to everybody, it would seem.
How kind.
Yeah.
So we didn't just get a t-shirt or a piece of rock.
No.
Get it cold. So then, briefly, tell us about your week. I won't make you talk much.
Week's been fine. It's half term, so kids are at home.
Week number 1 of 2.
Yeah, they get 2 weeks. They're really lucky. So
No
Jake's
other
doing
place
lots
does.
of revision, and Alice has been out with her friends a lot, and I took her to Westfield with her friend yesterday. So
You came back with goodies.
we did come back with lots of stuff.
I haven't had mine yet.
Yeah, there's yum nuts in the kitchen.
Nice.
And yeah, basically just sat in a cafe, did a little bit of shopping, but was just kind of there to take them to and from.
Yes.
And that's been about it, really.
My week has been very boring. Truly, this has been a very quiet week. Nothing's happened yet. I've got a gig on Saturday, though. Jake is coming with me. We might be out this evening, Jake and I. But given the weather and everything, can't really say. And the person we're going out with still has to deal with a broken leg. So, nothing's quite set in stone at this point in time. But it is what it is.
Yeah, we're having Storm Benjamin, I think.
Yes, that's
Very
the one.
high wind and rain.
And there's a door, isn't there? There's a door in a place that we don't know. It's this mystery door that keeps banging all through the night.
I think it's in the empty building at the top of our road.
It's a bit ghostly.
There are windows that are open, and I think it slams the door, but
it's a bit ghost-like.
Loud.
It's very loud. You can hear it down here with the window shut. You can hear it upstairs with the window open.
Yeah.
All through the night.
Yes.
We did have fireworks go off recently with Diwali.
It's been Diwali, yeah.
And they were literally right outside the window.
I mean, I would say like 2-3 meters away from our window, which is just insane.
I didn't like that.
No, neither did the dog. The poor thing was trembling and shaking. It's just...
People should have more decorum, to be honest.
Yeah, they should.
So what was our quiz last week then?
The quiz question was, what is the best-selling video game franchise?
Is that what you saw walking around Westfield the other day?
Yeah.
That was funny.
So do you want to answer it?
It was Mario.
It is Mario. Yeah.
See, I was thinking it was either that or Zelda. But,
yeah,
Mario
no, you're
indeed.
right. No, I think yesterday they must have had some kind of event or something, because they had giant characters of Mario and Luigi walking around Westfield.
Which is quite funny.
Yeah.
Did you get any pictures?
No, I didn't, because they were I think they were finishing wherever they'd been, so they were kind of walking off.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to, like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the question for this week is, in which state is it against the law to tie a giraffe to a street lamp or a telephone pole?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think so too.
So what is this art of compromise? Well, the way I see it is that when you start a new relationship, there is always going to be some compromising happening. And you don't always know what it's going to be at the beginning. But you work your way through those things and they come up when they come up. For example, I wanted to date someone that could drive.
Yeah.
But you do not.
No, and I never will.
And now I've waited 16 years to grow a child that can do it.
You've got a little bit longer to wait before he can drive. But
Yes.
thankfully, he's super keen. So
He is.
money permitting, he will be your driver, not me.
Fair.
But I do know that was quite a big disappointment for you for a long time.
Well, it would have just been convenient, I think,
Yeah.
more than anything. Because I always felt stymied by the fact that my mum never drove. So everything was always a train away or not.
Yeah, and it does give you that flexibility and freedom.
Yeah.
And likewise, I always hoped that I would end up with somebody that would drive and would drive me around.
You see?
So, but...
That didn't work, did it?
It didn't work, but that's okay.
18 years wasted. Let's go.
Yeah, I need to go find myself a driver.
You do.
No, I mean, we're lucky enough that we live in, pretty central London. Like, we're not on the outskirts or anything. You can get away with not driving.
It's even better here than it was when we lived in Ladbroke Grove, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I can get to the station. I could not find the station easily when we lived in West London.
That's true. And my mum lives really close by and she drives. And so when we do need the car, or, if I'm taking the kids somewhere for a day out or whatever, then...
We got wheels.
Yeah. So we manage.
Yeah, we definitely do.
And when Jake can drive, that'll be great. That will solve that
Most
issue.
of them, I think. But apart from that, what other compromises do you think that we went through? I think probably the biggest is on your side, really, due to disability stuff. Like, for me, it's quite easy.
I think...
I was lucky.
I think with anybody, any relationship, there are compromises because you're learning to... particularly when you move in together and get married and stuff, there's always differences, isn't there? So there's always going to be that. But maybe sometimes there might be more things that crop up when you have one or two people with a disability.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think back to when we first got together. And I don't think it was ever a thing that we discussed, or that there was ever, because it never bothered me. It was never a, oh my goodness, like, how is this going to...
It bothered your friend.
It bothered my friend at the time, who is obviously no longer a friend, because she didn't believe that we should have children, that they would get teased in the playground.
Or that they would be blind too.
I don't even remember her saying that. I think it was just they would get teased.
I don't think it's been that way. I think it's been the opposite.
No, I don't think anybody has ever said a negative thing to them, ever. Certainly if they have, they've never mentioned it, which would surprise me. So...
Jake's friends seem to think I'm kind of this mad person.
Oh no, I think they
can do all sorts of crazy things.
I think they're just all really impressed with what you can do. And I don't think it's in a... No,
not a bad way. It's just interesting what he said about them.
Yeah.
Because they've seen like my videos and things.
Exactly. And Alice, when she's shown her friends or they've seen your music or the videos that you do with her and stuff, and when you play, like, they just think you're incredible. And it's like, I almost feel like it's a good teaching lesson for other children, because they may not have come across somebody who's visually impaired and what they can do. So I feel
this is true for any disability, I think.
Yeah, of course, but just personal to our circumstance.
Yeah, true. But what I was going to say was, I think a lot of time the disability isn't normalized. So because it isn't, and because it is like a minority thing, people not being exposed to it don't know how to deal with it when they are.
No, exactly.
If that makes sense.
And actually, then I kind of almost feel like it's more important for families who have someone with disability, like us, to sort of
raise awareness.
Show those kids when they are here or whatever.
I think so.
Because, it's not going out of your way or anything. It's just being like, hey, look what we do. It's exactly the same as
what you do, just different.
Exactly. But other compromises, I suppose it's just, I suppose it is more on me, because it is me doing a bit more, I guess, when it came to looking after the house and raising the kids and things. But also that's more about you as a person as opposed to your disability, because there are other people, other friends of yours that are blind or partially sighted or, have some kind of visual impairment, who
They cook.
take
they do all
a
the
much
things.
more active role in childcare, like when they're babies and stuff, you know, who learn to change nappies and do all of that kind of stuff. So again, that's kind of more of you as a person than the disability.
It is true.
So I feel like even if you'd been sighted, we would have had that compromise anyway. It just might not have been quite as much.
No. But it's different now because, you know, we go and do things and go off and go places and whatever.
Yeah, now things are different because they don't need caring for in that same sense.
No, I'm not changing a nappy.
No, you don't.
At this stage of my life.
No. But I would say that's the only thing that really maybe was an issue when they were younger, because it's hard when you are the main parent that is doing all of that.
Yeah. I just tried to keep the house running in a different way.
Yeah.
Make sure all the things work.
Yeah, and you're just more supportive then, you know, sort of supportive behind the scenes.
More mentally than physically.
Exactly. And maybe
I think that's
a
kind
while.
of a type of compromise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the strengths and weaknesses, isn't it? So
it is.
It was really hard at the time because it's hard anytime.
But you don't know until you
kid.
have it, when you have that situation happen to you. So then it's kind of like a learning curve for all of us.
Absolutely. In any relationship, you would have that, wouldn't you?
You would. And there's no manual for parents about being a parent. Like,
no.
Every child is different.
Exactly.
Just, you think you've had one, you know it all. Absolutely not true.
Yeah.
They have different traits and characteristics, and you don't find that out until you see them for the first time. I remember that.
But also, so do we as adults. So I naturally take a more hands-on approach when it comes to the house and the kids, and you take a more hands-on approach when it comes to other things. So, you know, it evens out.
They come to me, though, when they have different issues, as opposed to, like, issues that mummy can solve. So, like, things don't work, they'll come to me. Jake needs a screwdriver, which he hasn't returned yet. Come to me. You know, I think it's really interesting how the dynamic fell out, as it were. Just like, that's an example, I suppose. If Alice needed something doing with her hair, she's not going to come to me.
No.
But if she needed something fixing with her iPad, she might come to me. So they learn the strengths, the weaknesses of each parent.
Yeah, of course.
And no one can do all the things, right? No one person. It's just, or very rarely anyway. And that's fine.
You know, one big compromise we did have.
What's that?
The piano.
Oh, yeah.
That was back when we moved in here. And
a couple of months after, because we moved in November. And the piano came December.
It was like a month. We'd barely been here that long. And I loved the fact that this room was so big and spacious and open. And then this piano came and took up a huge amount of space, blocked off basically an entire door and window.
It did.
And I wasn't very happy. And you weren't very happy that I wasn't very happy.
No.
And that did cause a little bit of grief.
Yes.
But
we were adults and we got over it.
We did eventually. And you compromised with the animals.
Yeah.
You know? Your big love is music. And the piano is part of that. And my big love, obviously this is aside from each other, is animals. So, you know.
We had to make that work.
Yeah. And we did. And it's fine.
It would have been different if we'd have only had one exit. Then we couldn't have had the piano. But we have two exits to the back garden.
A wall, like a blank wall there instead of the door. And actually it's fine. And having the piano has been really nice. You know, I've said that before. The kids have played. Alice particularly enjoys playing it and actually has a really good...
She has her phases. I think she plays more now than she did before.
Yeah. So...
And it is good as a Christmas card holder, as you tend to use it for.
It displays things nicely.
Yes.
So...
Part of the furniture.
Other than that, I can't really think of any.
Well, there's cooking. I mean, like, I'm not Ed.
That was never a compromise, though. That was just, I just do the cooking. It's just
Ed is a phenomenal cook, and I can say that.
And lots
because
of
I've eaten
other
his food.
people of your friends cook that visually impaired.
Yeah, but he's like the one I go to the most, I think.
Yeah, he does do like proper recipes, and
he always tells me about this like Mediterranean lamb he makes, and it's like a metric ton of the stuff.
Wow.
He's been cooking and sticking it in their massive chest freezer out the back.
Nice.
Yeah, for when the baby comes and they've got loads of meals to eat, so that they don't have to do anything. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, bit of meal prep.
I remember when you moved into my place, we had a chest freezer for a few years.
Yeah, because I had it in my place.
It
was like a little mini one.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
It was, actually. Quite liked it.
Yeah.
If we had room to have one, I'd have one again.
Yeah, they are useful.
Get a solar power one, stick it in the garden.
Oh, God, no. Oh, gross. That fox that keeps coming in the garden, he'd be after it for sure.
Oh, yes, the fox. Forgot about that.
Mr. Foxy.
They come and go. Nasty things.
They're just
make
trying
a lot
to live
of noise.
their life. They do make horrible noises, but he's just trying to live his life. But yeah.
There's a scene in Friday Night Dinner where there's a fox in the freezer.
I think that's my favourite episode, actually.
It's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And Jackie makes profiteroles. Jackie's the mum in the series. And it's all a bit messy, isn't it? Because they drop the profiteroles and there's a fox underneath them. Mm-hmm. It's a bit crazy. Well, we haven't had that situation, luckily, but...
No fox in the freezer.
That could be a whole other thing. Iced fox. I don't know what you'd do with that.
No.
But yeah, because our cooktop is completely flat and we've never kind of gone out of our way to change that. I don't handle the pots
it's
and
electric.
pans.
We don't have gas, so I don't know if you can.
Yeah, you probably could with like a ringed hot plate or something. But yeah, it came with the house and we just kind of let it be, didn't we?
Yeah.
I could use the oven, but you'll hear more than I'm like on my own, so it worked out.
It's fine.
It is. But we have avoided a lot of touchscreen items in the house, so that's good. Mm-hmm. Microwave has buttons. Mm-hmm. The oven has dials, and the washing machine you can set with an app, which we picked on purpose, so it works out.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. One of the shortest episodes in history.
It is very short, but
what can you do when you've got a sick wife? No, it's fine. And actually, it'd be interesting to hear how other people have found compromising and what you've compromised on, if anything.
Yeah, definitely. So to round up, yes. I will just give you a quick story because I liked this story.
Strange news. Bring it up.
Strange news. So this actually is from a couple of years ago, but I found it and thought it was quite amusing. A meteor strike on a Dublin beach actually ended up being a deep hole dug with a plastic spade. So an Irish news channel had to correct a slightly embarrassing mistake after reporting a suspected meteor strike on a beach in Dublin. They announced that a rock might have smashed into a beach, and a journalist came out to the crater and was joined by Dave Kennedy, who's a local space enthusiast, who discovered the site while walking his dog. And there's a whole video of him being interviewed, and he's clearly very excited. He said, "I knew immediately that it was an impact site while holding the rock that he believed could be the meteor itself." He said the actual weight of it and the density, you're definitely going to have to get it checked out. So he was like super excited about this whole thing. But actually, footage posted on social media revealed that the crater was just a big hole that had been dug with a plastic spade by some beachgoers.
Come on.
Not long before.
What a fail.
I mean, to be fair, we'll link it. And if you can see it, you'll see what I mean. But to sort of describe it, it is quite an interesting hole. Like, it's quite wide. And the way that it's dug, and then they've put the sand sort of around it, so it does kind of look like, something could possibly do that, I guess. But it's also on a sandy beach. I mean, people dig holes all the time.
I did. I dug a hole as a kid on a beach that was so deep, my feet did not touch the bottom.
Wow, that's scary
cool.
because people have done that before and then it's
sunk in on them.
That's really scary.
Yeah, I didn't get in it because I knew that might happen. Because sand is sand and sand collapses. But I just remember that we spent about 6 hours doing this massive dig. And it was so deep that you could feel water in the bottom.
Yeah, it
was cool.
That is scary though.
It was.
I would be scared.
It was both. A lot of fun shells and stuff inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't. I think I'm done.
Well, you can send well wishes to my lovely wife and hope that she will feel better this time next week.
I am sure I will. I better.
Yeah. You better. You better be better.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, she's not going to be able to reach the high pitch of the bye, but we can try. Thanks for listening if you have, and see you next time, I guess.
Bye.